Let's go Broncos! There's a reason this Broncos team, dismissed by analysts and underestimated by rivals, is dominating conversations behind the scenes in the NFL. I've uncovered details that could change your perspective on this team's playoff trajectory, and it all starts with Sean Payton's latest masterstroke. What's happening in the Broncos locker room? What's the real plan with Bo Nix? And why do some experts say this team could not only make an impact in the playoffs, but could win every remaining game? Before I explain all that, click the like button if you believe in this team as much as I do. And if you followed the Broncos through the ups and downs, leave a comment saying, "Go Broncos! We can make it to the Super Bowl." Now let's get right into it, because what's unfolding right now with the Denver Broncos is nothing short of remarkable. We're witnessing Sean Payton playing 4D chess, making high IQ moves not just for depth but for playoff strategy. One of the most recent examples, the team went out and snagged Sam Mustipher, a former starter on the Chicago Bears offensive line who recently spent time with the Chargers. Why does that matter? Well, it's not just about filling the backup center spot with Wattenberg injured, it's also about gathering intel. Payton has made a habit of this, picking up players from upcoming opponents to gain inside knowledge. It didn't work out earlier with a running back before the Jaguars game, but this time, it's different. Mustipher is experienced with 43 career starts, and he brings depth exactly where we need it, especially given how banged up the Chargers' O-line is with both tackles out and Herbert under siege all season long. But it doesn't stop there. Enter Alex Forsyth. When Wattenberg hit IR, Forsyth stepped up, and not against just anyone, he faced off with Chris Jones, one of the most dominant interior defenders in football. Forsyth not only held his own, he kept Jones off the stat sheet when lined up head-to-head, even earning a game ball. That performance had extra weight, considering Forsyth was the fall guy last season after a blocked field goal in Kansas City. Redemption stories like this are what football is all about. It shows the kind of culture shift we're seeing under Payton: accountability, resilience, and execution. And speaking of execution, can we talk about this offense? The Broncos had just 7 drives in their recent win, not including the kneel down. 4 of those drives were over 14 plays. That's clock management at its finest. Payton designed a game plan not just to win, but to protect his players, long, sustained drives that kept his defense fresh and minimized injury risk. The result? 2.9 points per drive. If you average that over a full season, you'd have the #1 offense in the NFL. Let that sink in. And yet, the mainstream media still wants to label us as a fraudulent team. But here's the reality. We swept the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time since 2014. We won in Arrowhead for the first time since 2015. And that's not all. We beat the #1 defense on the road in Houston. We beat the #5 offense when they came to Denver. We beat Jordan Love. We beat the Eagles on the road. These are not fluke wins. These are statement victories. But let's not forget who's at the helm: Bo Nix. This kid is rewriting narratives every week. Draft experts laughed when the Broncos picked him. Some called him the worst QB in his class. Yet, here he is, setting records and making NFL history. The only rookie quarterback to ever have 20-plus wins, 500-plus passing yards, and 50-plus touchdowns across his first 2 seasons. He's 6-2 in primetime games and undefeated in primetime this season. Against Kansas City, he's 3-1, with the only loss coming on a blocked field goal in a game he had already put in winning position. Compare that to Lamar Jackson, 1-6 versus KC, Justin Herbert, 4-7, or Josh Allen, 5-5. That's elite territory. And what makes it even more insane is that he's doing it despite leading the league in drops. Only Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars are anywhere close. Imagine how much more productive this offense could be if those drops are cleaned up, which Payton and his staff are surely working on. Cortland Sutton had a couple of key drops, and that seemed to affect the rest of the receiving core. But come playoff time, I believe those concentration lapses will tighten up. There's something about seeing your teammates struggle that makes everyone hyper-focus, and I trust this team to correct it when it matters most. Bo is not just managing games, he's creating explosive plays even when the defense knows he's throwing. His EPA, expected points added, on scrambles and when under pressure is second only to Patrick Mahomes. Read that again. He's keeping drives alive, avoiding sacks, and delivering darts, often with a supporting cast that has let him down in key moments. And still, he produces. And still, he wins. This sets the stage for an absolutely massive Week 18 showdown with the Chargers. It's still unclear whether that game will be played Saturday or Sunday, but either way, everything is on the line. If the Broncos beat the Chargers, they could potentially secure a bye and avoid playing them again immediately in a wild card rematch. But lose? We might see them again just 1 week later in the exact same stadium. Playing a division rival 3 times in a season, especially back-to-back, is a nightmare scenario. It makes this Week 18 battle absolutely critical. And let's not sleep on the playoff picture. The Bills loom large, especially after last year's defeat. But if you look closely, their losses all have a pattern. When James Cook doesn't rush for over 100 yards, they lose. And what's been one of the Broncos' biggest strengths lately? Run defense. It doesn't matter that the defense has seen some fall off statistically in December. They've been locking down the run. That's going to be key in January. If you can stop the run and force Josh Allen to beat you without elite receivers, you have a shot. And Mile High will be rocking with noise that gives our edge rushers a serious advantage. And that brings us to the crucial continuation of what could be the most defining stretch of the Broncos season in the last decade. Because while we've laid out the historic run, the context behind it makes it even more jaw-dropping. Sean Payton isn't just winning games, he's reshaping the identity of this franchise from top to bottom. We're not just seeing a turnaround, we're witnessing the foundation of what could be a sustained era of dominance. Let's talk about this Chargers matchup a bit more because the stakes couldn't be higher. Bo Nix has never beaten the Chargers. That alone tells you how personal this game is going to be. And now, with Mustafa in the building, likely bringing intel from his time with LA, Sean Payton's preparing to finally check that box. Not only for Bo, but for the Broncos' playoff standing. If Denver handles business, they might avoid the nightmare of a 3-game series against a division rival. Let's not forget how mentally and physically draining it is to face a team 3 times in 1 year, especially if the final 2 games are just days apart. It's the small details that Payton obsesses over that make the difference. The move to sign Mustafa wasn't just a depth move. It was an edge move. Payton is constantly thinking 2 steps ahead. Who does that remind you of? Yeah, Bill Belichick. Except Payton's doing it with a quarterback who's still learning the NFL, a wide receiver core that leads the league in drops, and a team that was widely counted out before week 1. And yet here we are. Now, let's zoom back in on Bo Nix. His pocket presence continues to defy logic for a rookie. When you watch him on film, he slides, shifts, and resets like a 5-year veteran. He has one of the lowest sack rates in the league, not because he scrambles wildly, but because he manipulates the pocket like a chess master. And when he does run, he makes it count. That's why his EPA when scrambling is almost identical to Patrick Mahomes. He's efficient, he's explosive, and more importantly, he's consistent. What gets lost in the national narrative is just how much he's had to overcome. The media doesn't talk enough about how this offense has been functioning with a different starting center, without one of their starting guards, and with receivers dropping passes left and right. That would crater most rookie quarterbacks. But Nix, he's breaking records. He's tying legends like Andrew Luck in game-winning drives. He's shattering expectations every single week. Let's go even deeper into the analytics. His EPA per play places him right alongside names like Matthew Stafford and Brock Purdy. These are QBs with playoff experience, some with Super Bowl runs. Bo Nix is right there, except he's doing it in his first NFL season. That's unheard of. And if you're looking for tangible proof of how this team has transformed under Payton and Nix, just look at the time of possession stats from recent games. The Broncos are controlling games with long, methodical drives, eating up clock, wearing down defenses, and most importantly, keeping their own defense rested and ready. But here's where things get even more intense. The playoff path is wild. If the Broncos don't win against the Chargers, they risk having to travel for the wild card round. But if they win, and if a few other dominoes fall, they could get a home game or even a first-round bye. That's how tight things are in the AFC. Every inch matters. Every possession matters. And right now, with the Broncos peaking at the right time, this team looks like a dark horse that no one wants to face. And let's not forget what's happening on the other side of the ball. While the offense is putting together masterpiece-level drives, the defense is doing their job, especially against the run. Remember, if you're going to make a run in the playoffs, especially against teams like the Bills, you need to shut down the ground game. Denver has proven they can do just that. And with the playoff atmosphere soon returning to Mile High, you know the crowd is going to become the 12th man once again, forcing false starts, disrupting communication, and giving our pass rushers the jump they need to wreck plays before they start. The Broncos are not just winning, they're doing it with complementary football, smart coaching, quarterback excellence, resilient defense, and a chip on their shoulder that's growing with every disrespectful take they see on national TV. This is a team on a mission, a coach trying to prove he's still elite, a rookie QB rewriting the narrative,